Thanks for joining us today. So this is episode 22 of KT Confidential. So last week we said that this week we would have our first guest, which I suppose we do, but it's not the intended guest. Our guest was not able to make it, so we've rescheduled. So today, and to top it off, Ariel is sick at home. So for everybody listening or watching, we've got our 3 Kormendy Trott Team sales representatives here. Maybe we'll start off with just a quick intro and background. We'll start and go clockwise. Steve. Everybody knows Steve. But rewind to when you were just a baby and tell me your story. How did you end up here?
How did I end up here?
Yes.
Here in the boardroom or here in Ontario or here in real estate? Because we don't have that much time.
Give us a quick synopsis of your life.
Quick synopsis of my life. So I was born. All joking aside, so I don't know. Let's see here. I grew up back in Montreal, had a great childhood, married a perfect wife, had some kids, lost the job, moved to Ontario, restarted my career. Ended up in real estate. Somebody suggested I should try it out because I'm a people person. I don't know why they say that, but hey, I'll go with it. So I tried it out, loved it. I love helping people into real estate, buying, selling, whatever it is. It's just an awesome feeling. I started off by myself, joined the organization.
Before you get there, just to give people an idea, so you left a previous job, which was completely unrelated. You were selling women's lingerie or modeling it or something like that.
So I like to tell people that, I was modeling it, but that's not the case, obviously, dude. So I worked for an IT company. Actually, it was a clothing company, and I worked in the IT department for many years. I did many different tasks there. And I always tell people that I was the fit model for La Senza, but that's not the case. So going to real estate is a total 180-degree turn from what I was doing. And I'm not regretting it at all. So IT was my background. I did a lot of different things. I worked in warehousing. And next question.
No, that's good.
Oh, that's good.
And now you're here and you're happy and you're doing well. You're successful. People love you. You should see all the reviews you get on our Google page and Facebook.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I love. I just the satisfaction of people being happy and stuff like that, knowing that I'm able to help them and they're grateful. That, aside from getting paid, obviously, because I need to eat, that's great reward, absolutely. And then I joined the KT team. It's almost 2 years now, eh?
Yeah, that's good. We're happy with you. You've been great to have around.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy that you're happy with me because I'm ecstatic to be here.
Yeah, and Steve's a bit of a sensitive guy, so before he gets all teary-eyed, we'll move on to Heather.
Yeah. Please. We could talk about my new grandson later.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Steve's a grandfather.
Nice plug in, eh, guys?
Yeah.
Last week, my daughter gave birth to a beautiful baby boy, and I'm just loving being a granddad. It's just a whole new world for me. Yeah. I thought being a parent was the icing on the cake, which it still is, but this is just a whole new realm. I'm on cloud 9.
That's amazing.
This is the picture. I got to show. I love this picture. It just warms my heart. See, I'm all flabbergasted now. This picture, I don't know if you can see it on the camera.
Great picture.
That's an awesome photo.
So sweet.
Yeah.
He's a sweet little guy, and we'll probably go see him tomorrow.
Oh,
nice. Well, that's exciting. We're happy for you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So we've been calling you Grandpa for a while, but now it actually fits.
Now it fits. I actually caught up to the term,
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
Heather, let's hear about you.
Okay, so I am originally from Windsor. Don't be jealous about that. I moved up this way 11 years ago. I lived downtown Toronto, working for an ad agency for a little while. And then at that time boyfriend and I decided we wanted to buy a home. So we looked at Milton and we moved down the street from Adrian and Ariel, actually, when we first came here 8 years ago now. And we have a little one. I have a 5.5-year-old. I was working for Chorus Entertainment. They do a lot of the programs you guys watch, HGTV, Kids Networks is what I worked on, and selling advertising space for the Kids Networks. And then I had my little one, decided to make a change and do something that I've always wanted to do and have thought about for years and years, and finally had the courage to do it with lots of support from my husband. And I got my real estate license, and now I've been working for about a year. And here I am on the KT team. Very excited to be here.
Cool. We're happy to have you as well.
Yeah.
And you're doing well. You just you're listing a new property next week. Just
That's
sold,
right.
helped these same people purchase a home. And,
Fantastic clients, yeah.
yeah. So
Very
that's
happy.
great. Good.
Yeah.
Chris.
Hey.
Cam, can you hear Heather? Okay. Yeah. You said, okay.
Yeah. So I guess I've known you and Ariel for what, over 10 years now?
It's been a while.
Long
Yes.
time. You had hair.
Yes, I had hair.
Yeah. So we were obviously worked together in the car business, and
Hair on my head.
Yeah.
I've relocated it to my chin.
it has changed.
Yeah, just thinking that.
My wife. So for myself, I grew up in Burlington. I went into the car business over 10 years ago, met you and Ariel, and obviously we worked really good together back then. You guys departed, and I always followed you guys online. I was clients twice before joining the team. I have my wife at home. We just moved to Milton with our two little guys. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I've been really enjoying being part of the team. It's something I've always been interested in, and I'm happy to be here now.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's nice to be working with you again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good old days at the car dealership. Do you miss it?
No.
No.
Anyone, the car business, I'm sure the car business is a funny beast. It's like real estate. When you're in it, it consumes you. But there's lots of great. It was, obviously I was very successful. I had a great career, and I'd still be happy doing it. But I think it's a fair statement to say I'm happier being here and doing what I'm doing, and just different type of transactions, helping people on a different level.
And now we know a number of successful real estate agents who transitioned from car sales. Mm-hmm. So it seems like Ariel and I obviously also being from the auto industry. So it seems like for us it was a very natural progression, and I think it's an easy transition for people. So if there's any successful or people that are just unhappy in the car business right now that are looking to move, give us a call. Thank you. So one thing the main topic I wanted to talk about today was we've got Heather, who currently lives in Oakville. Mm-hmm. Chris, you're in Milton, mm-hmm. But you were in Waterdown and Burlington.
Right. Very familiar with both.
Yeah. So, a lot of the immediate areas that we work in. So I just wanted to get your feedback on the good and the bad between all the areas, why you lived or live where you are, what you like about the areas, what you don't like about the areas, what made you move. And we see it all the time, people moving in and out of different municipalities. So everyone always has different reasons, but maybe we'll start with Heather, because you just recently moved to Oakville, and that was something you were excited about doing for a while.
Yeah, very excited. We looked for about a year in a specific neighborhood that friends of ours had lived in, and I absolutely loved. There was a bunch of reasons that kind of pushed us towards that move. We had bought pre-construction home in the Ford neighborhood and thought that would be our forever home. We bought a large home, and I absolutely love the house. I was super happy with the house. My immediate neighbors, fantastic. Couldn't have been happier with them. One of the things that came up before we got to move in was the intermodal coming to Milton. That was a bit of a concern for us, turning Britannia, that construction starts, I believe, this September, widening it to 6 lanes, about 200 meters, I'd say, from my house. I wasn't happy about that. The amount of truck traffic that could possibly be coming down there was probably one of the biggest reasons. Next was my husband's commute downtown. Never at home in the evenings. We wanted to change that. We wanted to have more family time together. So when we looked at moving, we didn't look within Milton. We're like, if we're going to take the time to make the move, we're going to move closer. And this neighborhood that we had our eye on, something came up and it was perfect for us. And we jumped on it right away. Those were 2 main reasons. those are the two biggest reasons why we decided to relocate to Oakville. And one of the things I love about the neighborhood, there's a lot of things really close by, a lot of trails to go biking, lots of parks, and then the convenience of shopping a major intersection over, which was a big draw for me as well.
Yeah.
Being in that Ford neighborhood, you're kind of you're in the most southern point of Milton, and everything's at least a 10-minute to 15-minute drive to get to Walmart or the
and
store.
it's in its early stages still being developed, so you don't have the plazas and those amenities that may be there in 5 years or 10 years, whatever. Maybe
Absolutely.
quite that long, but it makes a big difference.
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely.
Like where I am now in Milton, when we first moved in, which is a few doors down from where you were, there wasn't anything for a long time.
Yes.
So
that's right.
especially with new construction, when you buy into new construction, you're buying into neighborhoods that aren't developed, so you don't have all the amenities. You might be getting shuffled around in schools. So if you have kids in schools, newer neighborhoods, you'll often find in the first few years, you may have to be taking them to multiple schools over the years until they build the new schools where they'll ultimately end up.
Yeah, and one of the big things, so just moving to Milton as well, my wife we were looking at a couple key areas, and Ford was one of them, and I was pretty adamant against it just because the infrastructure is not there. I could just have nightmares visualizing walking my dog in a park that had no grass and sidewalks with mud.
Like as of right now, I believe there's still not a park, and I went 3 summers without a park, which was another issue for me as well. There was no park in the immediate area. The one going in is at least a 20-minute walk away. It's too far.
Certainly, I mean, there's lots of benefits of a new area, but there's also some drawbacks as well that you have to kind of weigh out. And for me, I was pretty adamant that the negatives outweighed the positives of being in a newer, like a brand new construction.
Yeah.
Well, and you've more or less got a park right across the street, so you can walk there, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, for myself, we live in the Harrison area, and we absolutely love it. It's all 10, 15-year-old homes. We have a couple parks there. We're really close to McDougall Park, which is a small park, and then we have the large.
I know where you live. I'm going to stalk you now, Chris.
Come by anytime. Beer's always cold.
Oh, love it.
But we found a nice little crescent, fabulous neighbors, really, really, really great street. And that actually made the transition to Milton a lot easier because I wasn't, not that I wasn't excited to move to Milton, but I really loved living in Waterdown. I loved the community. I loved the smaller vibe there. I was partial to Burlington growing up there as well, but for my wife, who's a teacher in Milton and now working here, it was important for us not to have a commute. So similar to you, even though the commute wasn't going to be as much as Alan's, is saving that 15 minutes a day, being able to run into the office at 8:30, 10 o'clock at night, only being gone for a 3-minute commute. That was really, really important. And I think that's why a lot of people like Milton, is for a lot of people that commute and that conveniences around the area are a huge positive.
Well, one thing that I don't think a lot of people take into consideration, first of all, I think commutes are often one of the biggest driving factors for people's decision on where they want to move. Although I think that's people are being a little bit more open-minded with longer commutes now because of affordability. So you get more people moving further west, even though they live in the city. One big thing that people don't take into consideration is your actual living expenses, not just your purchase price of a home. So you have property taxes, which vary by municipality. You have car insurance, which can vary dramatically. For example, I was just looking at property taxes. So Milton is among one of the lowest property taxes. For last year, it was at 0.69% roughly, compared to Brampton, which is over 1%. So on a house that's valued by MPAC at $500,000, it's a difference of about $1,500 per year.
Absolutely.
Just on property tax.
Well, I can speak from that coming from Waterdown and my friends out there. Well, and that whole Hamilton area is known to being higher in property tax. I'm paying less in Milton for a larger home, more expensive home than I paid was paying in Waterdown. So huge impact there. And it's you look at the money it's saving you per month and you put that on a more expensive mortgage, you're getting a lot more house and you're not paying really much more when you factor those in.
Yeah. Makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
I can't speak to the car insurance aspect because I've been in Milton for so long. I don't know what it is elsewhere.
Yeah.
But I know that like Brampton, from what I understand, is among the highest as well. I don't know if somebody we were used to work with at the dealership. He moved from Burlington to City Center in Mississauga by Square One, and his insurance went up $300 monthly.
I believe
No
it.
way.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the article? CBC had an article this week about, and it happened. This actually happened to me in Milton or in Waterdown. They changed my postal code, so I didn't physically move. They changed my postal code, and my insurance went up because the designation changed. And there was an article in Oshawa, I believe it was. Same thing happened, and I think it was for their home and cars. It was over $1,000 difference just because of postal code change. So your postal codes do make a huge difference there. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and you had no control over it.
No,
It's crazy.
and you didn't move, nothing changed, there's no accidents. Someone decided, hey, you need a new postal code, and your insurance rates go up. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Conspiracy.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Now with Oakville, Oakville has this, not a stigma, but kind of just a general consensus. I'd say that it's a little bit snobby, stuck up, a little bit more expensive, maybe unaffordable for a lot of people. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I find a lot of people say that, and I hear it all the time. That's, it's too expensive. The property taxes are double. They're not double. We found this area, I found affordable and comparable. And sometimes, when I have clients that are looking in Milton and say they have commutes downtown and their budget, and show them what they can still get in Oakville, I don't feel, there's definitely very expensive pockets. Absolutely there is, but there's also
Well, they exist everywhere too.
Yeah, and there's still affordable areas, nice areas, and I'm very happy with where I've moved to, and I think people should look at all their options.
The nice thing about Oakville, and I'll say Burlington, the same thing, is that you're getting the amenities are really like they're top notch. They're very nice, but the areas you're getting, they're more established just because they're older communities. Even if you're in a newer community, they're often right next to a more established community.
Yes.
So you get those that infrastructure already built up and established, which is really nice.
Agreed.
The Oakville has Oakville and Burlington, they both have great downtown cores.
Waterfront's awesome.
The waterfront is incredible. So that's a big draw for those cities. Milton is super close to the escarpment. I mean, in the wintertime, this is the first year in 13 years I started snowboarding again. So I got a pass for Glen Eden. And as much as I make fun of it because it's tiny and it takes seconds to get down the hill and minutes to get up, it's so convenient. Like sometimes in the morning, I would just drive there in less than 10 minutes, go snowboarding for an hour, and then come into work.
Yeah.
And there's nobody on the hill. So, that's great in the winter. And then during the summer months, we used to go mountain biking. We might want to give it another shot this year.
I miss that a lot.
Yeah.
The escarpment is great. One of the reasons why I love my area, and you guys are really close too, because we're right there. You just jump over Tremaine and you're in the country.
I love that drive over Louis Saint Laurent heading towards Savaline.
beautiful.
It's so nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the trails there are fantastic, and they're not well used at all. And it's big enough where even if there's a lot of people there, you feel like no one's there.
Yeah.
Maybe that should be our next team event.
You
mountain
go biking every morning, don't you? Have you been consistent with that?
Well, last year I did. I haven't started up again. I'm waiting for the nicer weather.
Road biking? Or
I
bit of both?
No, street biking.
Okay.
My 30-year-old mountain bike on the street.
Do you have that bike with the curled handles?
Gosh, no, I'm old. I can't bend over.
Like a road bike. You're talking about
like
like a
the
real
ones where
road
you're-
bike.
No, not a race. No, a mountain bike.
Full spandex?
Okay.
He's
No,
got one of those
I-
ones with the big banana seat.
Screamers on the
No.
side,
Yeah,
basket on the front.
That's back in the 70s. I did have one of
I
those,
could see
though.
Steve on like a unicycle or something
Yeah.
too. Something
I
weird.
tried that once.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah. Tried it once, fell once, and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, biking, we should do that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But there is a lot of trails here as well. And nice thing is in Oakville, Burlington, you have the Waterfront Trail, which is great. I grew up right on Spruce and Appleby, Burloak area of Burlington, and I used to do the Waterfront Trail there all the time. And those features in a community really help shape it, and they're a huge draw. And people really need to investigate those more and making sure that they are aware of what they're getting into around.
Yeah. Well, it's there's so many things around I don't think people are aware of.
No,
like parks.
Even here, do you guys have a pass for the Halton Conservation?
I don't, but I've been many times.
Yeah, but Crawford Lake, Mount Nemo, Rattlesnake Point, there's Hilton Falls. There's so many great areas, like little day trips that you can take with kids or go walking or go on a date. I know Cam takes photos there all the time. It's really, really underutilized part of our community, which is great.
No, I've been on those. An old neighbor of mine had some free passes, and yeah, so it was nice. Too bad I moved away, but
well, it was not too long ago. When was it? You got free passes right through Canada or
through Canada Parks. Yeah,
that was
a couple of years ago.
The 125,
150,
150. Yeah,
150.
I'm glad you guys said it because I was going to say 50, and I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, that was a great initiative. I'm sure that brought a lot of attention to everything.
We got the passes, and we only went once.
Oh,
that was it. Yeah,
but it was only.
Where did you go?
Right? Only the parks.
Was it Crawford Lake? I don't know. And then Point Peely.
Yeah.
That's in the Windsor area. It was one of those. But we didn't take advantage. We ordered these passes and it sat in the drawer on our filing cabinet. We didn't go as often as we had anticipated.
Is it like a family pass or person per person?
I think it was per person.
Is it?
I can't remember. Alan ordered them in all honesty.
Okay.
I just saw.
Yeah, it's a great idea though, and this time of year, people should be thinking about that sort of stuff because it's a great time to take advantage of all the nice parks and trails around.
Yep.
Maybe one of the next podcasts, we should take it on the road, do a trail.
Yeah, sit outside.
Walk
around a campfire.
through.
We can do one of your vlogs.
We could do one of those vlogs going through do it on the trail.
We could adapt our mics and stuff. Cam will be carrying three cameras. Yeah, we could use GoPros, strap it all to our foreheads. So, but there's on everything we've talked about. I don't think enough people get out to explore where they live.
Absolutely.
And I don't think people really put enough thought into where they're moving and the various reasons, whether it be cost or amenities, that they should take into consideration.
There's an article the other day I was reading, just what's your commute actually costing you. So for example, right now we're seeing a big trend, people moving further and further out, but what's that going to cost you in terms of gas, extra maybe time or commuter passes,
Stress.
the Presto passes, those type of things. So you might be saving, say $100,000, but what's that actually costing you per month, and is it worth your quality of life to keep moving further and further out?
Yeah.
That's a huge trend right now. I don't think people look at that big purchase price, and you should, but what is it actually costing you in your life in terms of your month-to-month and quality of life?
Yeah, well, and now I think employers are becoming more and more creative with their work environments and structures for employees. So a lot more people now are able to work from home more often, which makes a huge difference, even if it's once or twice a week. Can save you, keep you sane, but also make your work environment much more enjoyable.
Better work-life balance.
Yeah, definitely. Although for some people, I know for me, when I first started working from home, it was very challenging because of all the distractions. So it's probably not for everybody.
I find when I was working from home for a few years, it was being on my own and not having people to talk to all day.
Yeah.
You call the office, make them talk to you for far longer than they want to. That's my problem.
That's funny. I was going to say something else about it. I can't remember what it was. Oh, when I moved from Oakville, so I was at Bronte and Dundas, so 5 to 10 minutes from Milton. So the reason I moved at that time was two reasons. One, for the short, it saved me about 15 minutes for my commute at the time. So that was one reason. The other reason was how far my money would get me with that short drive as well. So I sold a 1,600 square foot townhouse, inside unit, single garage, and for the exact, almost to the penny, the exact same money, I got a 2,000 square foot detached double garage.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So if people are living in areas where they wish they had something a little bit bigger, sometimes looking just outside of where you currently are and maybe into an area you hadn't previously considered could get you exactly what you want without maybe not spending any more money versus moving within the same area and spending more money in order to do that upgrade. So, do you guys ever get people that are like completely against moving to Milton or completely against looking outside of a certain area?
I think people get fixated
Yeah.
way too easily, even in terms of neighborhoods. People have maybe a stigma or a thought where they're adamant looking in a particular area. Well, there are areas on the outskirts that can deliver, very, very similar homes, but maybe save them money or get them more of what they're looking for. So maybe a bigger property, that type of thing. Be open to the idea of looking at other areas.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, absolutely. I had a client who was looking, they're currently in Toronto because they both work downtown, and so they wanted to get something bigger, so they couldn't afford anything bigger in Toronto, so they're looking outskirts. So we started looking in Guelph, they wanted to look in that area. Then they wanted to look in Hamilton, so we looked a little bit there. And where did we end up buying? Back in Toronto.
Well, you never know until you get out looking.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was because they liked what they saw on the outskirts. For the value was good, but it was the commute going back to Toronto.
Well, sometimes taking them to that area a couple of times too, their eyes open up that it's not. Google might say it's 45 minutes, but
It's
never 45 minutes.
No. Once you factor in weather, forget it.
Exactly.
Actually, Google Maps is very efficient. Like or very accurate. I used it the other day. I had to go to kind of like East Mississauga, and it was during rush hour.
Right.
And I put the address in, and almost to the minute I was there.
Yeah.
Because it takes into account driving conditions, traffic, stuff like
I
that.
guess where it lets you down is if a lot of people do the searches at night without traffic. So if you don't put your commuting time time
you have to
tour.
specify the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool. That's it. There you have it. So when you're considering the move, you need to
All the factors.
be open-minded, look at all the variables, because there's more than just your mortgage that impacts your monthly carrying costs.
Do your homework.
Do your homework for sure. Thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Steve, you were pretty quiet for a guy that is like our
He's gonna-
mascot or entertainer.
He's waiting for us to finish so he can stand in front of the mic and camera by himself and do outtakes.
Yeah.
Well, no, Cam told me to be quiet before, and you told me to, so I'm being a little
I
bit
told you to be quiet before because you were saying so much that was worthy of being on camera. I didn't want you to waste all your
all my worthiness,
your good stuff.
all my good stuff.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for being on.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Thanks for listening. Make sure you check us out on Instagram and follow us wherever you may be listening.